ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dave Crouch, and welcome to Policy Talks. This is the cable TV, radio, live show that we host every month for Williamson, Inc., our local Chamber of Commerce. We're thrilled to have a crowd here this morning of distinguished-looking folks, and we hope that you're going to enjoy our discussion this morning. We have our live audience here at Columbia State, always appreciative of the beautiful facility that Columbia State lets us use here. Got our TV audience thanks to Creed Henderson and his crew on WCTV, and Tom Lawrence and his crew are broadcasting us out through AM 950, aren't we? And we have a very special panel this morning. We've got a very interesting day to be doing this because of the events of yesterday. We're going to try to avoid national politics today and focus on the positive things that are going on, because we've got two gentlemen here we want to honor for the work they did in working across the aisle for the good of the state of Tennessee. And we've got our own Sam Whitson, our representative from the 65th District here in Franklin. And with him is Representative Darren Jernigan. He's a foreigner. He's from Old Hickory. And he is also retiring from the State House this year to take another job that we're going to quiz him about quite a bit. But Sam and Darren are famous on the Capitol Hill for working across the aisle and trying to cooperate on things that are good for the state, for our citizens, and for the state legislature as a whole. So who is Darren Jernigan? Sam, how about giving us the quick version, and then we'll let Representative Jernigan defend himself.
Thank you, Dan. Is this working? Can y'all hear in the back? So, yes, when I first got elected back in 2016, we started the General Assembly the first in January of 2017, and I was on the back row of the chamber, and right across the aisle, about this far, was this young man, and it was Darren Jernigan, and so we got to talking, and over the years, we developed a very close friendship. He's one of the finest men I've ever met in my life. His integrity, his honesty, and his commitment to his district and county and state is unmatched. And you know, we did disagree often on things, and I always had to tell Darren, if I agree with you, we would both be wrong. And
which was often.
Which is often. Darren is one of those, such a respected member of the General Assembly across the aisle. Our members, you know, he is just well respected and trusted. He is a vice chairman of one of the big committees down there, and the speaker appointed him to that because of his ability to work with others. And that is something I feel that we are really missing these days. So Darren and I try to set the example of civility and respect, that you can disagree, but you can do it in a way that shows our next generation how this country should operate. It is missing at the national level and sometimes at the state level. And I saw something the other day about there was some big brouhaha at the U.S. Capitol between some members of the House of Representatives, and then there was a video or a statement that says the Waffle House of Representatives, and you know, we don't want to get there, and so we did our part to try to mitigate that toxic environment, and
Sam, let's circle back to. We know you disagree on a lot, and in a few minutes I want to talk about what you actually agreed on. So that shouldn't take long, but we will. I want to get to know Darren Jernigan just a little bit. Darren, I understand married, got 4 kids. Is that correct?
Been married to my first wife for a little over 15 years.
All right. And so all the kids are under 15, I guess. Shouldn't ask that. You're representing the 60th district, which is Donaldson and Hermitage. As far as I know, I've been doing this, I tried to figure out with Tom Lawrence before the show went on the air, either 12 or 13 years. And as far as I know, you're the first Democrat we've ever had on this show since I've been doing it. And so this is going to be an interesting show. You were on the Metro Council for about 6 years prior to your election to the House. You have an interesting personal story, and tell us a little bit about that. Had an accident, I think, when you were a kid. Tell us.
Sure. First, thank you for the invitation. Sam texted me this morning, gave me the passcode to get into Williamson County. So that was nice. Those were very nice words you said. I wish this was live in my district. But they're very kind that we went over it and you did a good job. Yes, my route into politics, and I was 20 years old and I was in a car accident. I was in the back seat of a car, broke one bone in the accident, and happened to be in my neck. But I've often I don't want to go too much deep into this, but
Yeah.
there are times when, you can say, why me, or whatever, and, why God kind of stuff. I can look back over 34 years now and see a lot of and the blessings that I've had in my life. But my route to politics was, I studied in school. I went to Austin Peay and got a master's degree at MTSU, and my first gig was in the U.S. Department of State in the Bureau of Diplomatic Security. I worked in Congress. I worked in the Veterans Administration, and when I was about 29, when I got back home, I went to go see my representative, and he kind of blew me off, and he was 80, I was 29. And the next day, like every great American should, go down and pick up papers to run against him. So I was under no illusion that he was the chairman of transportation and 6 figures in his account. But he was going to know two things. He was going to know my name and the two topics I came down there to talk about. And I lost that race. But I learned a lot, and there was a lot of people who would say to me, and this was actually in a forum similar to this, why do you want to run? You're not going to win. All these people that are running. And I said, well, he reminded me of a story of a man in East Tennessee who put his mule into the Kentucky Derby. And they said, why do you put your mule into the Kentucky Derby? He's not going to win. He said, well, he may not win, but the association do him some good. and so I got to be associated with a lot of people, and so I really did no aspiration to run, especially the Metro Council, but I didn't like the person that was running. So same thing happened in the State House. The lines changed. I did not like the person that was I did not like the person's politics. I shouldn't say I like the person. And so I said, well, I don't want to wake up 10 years from now and say I should have done it. And I just to put it in perspective, I'm almost done. But just to put it in perspective, in that race in 2012, my House seat, the lines were drawn to protect the incumbent. The incumbent was in the majority party. He had name recognition. He had money. And at the time, Obama was down about 20 points in our district. But I woke up in the morning thinking about it, went to bed thinking about the race. We had a couple breaks go our way. And when about 25,000 votes were cast, and we won by 95. So 95 more than he had. So that's kind of
Intro.
intro of who I am and why I'm here.
And my apologies for not maybe prefacing my question about your accident a little better, but
Okay.
a 20-year-old that has an accident like that and an injury like that could have easily just given up and gone home and lived the rest of your life watching TV. But we've got a lot of people here that I think can gain a lot of inspiration from the impact you're making with your life in spite of maybe a pretty rough injury. And a couple of the people here are college kids, one of which is my son. So I just wanted them to hear that story and make sure they understand that when you're kicked, you gotta get up and keep going, and you've done that.
I can talk to him afterwards when we straighten him out. But that's what.
Second row right there, first
Hey.
two guys on the.
Got you.
Sam, you and Darren both decided not to run for reelection. This was your final hoorah, I guess, as you went out. Why did you want? You're supposed to silence your telephone. That's something I would do.
I gave my phone to Pam.
You have a message for us? No, why did you want to bring Representative Jernigan here? And this was, I think, your idea, and we embraced it, thought it was a great idea. Maybe it was Kel's idea.
No, it's Kale's out.
And team effort, we all like the idea to see how a Republican and a Democrat did try to work together. What successes did you have there, and maybe what would you have liked to have accomplished that you didn't?
Well, I'm sorry, what was the last?
What would you have liked to accomplish that maybe didn't happen?
Well, one thing I would like to have done, but I don't have the $25 billion, is to 3-lane every interstate in the state of Tennessee.
Amen.
And that's something we need to do. And I've always said in these policy talks for the past 8 years, we're driving on the same interstates, 2-lane interstates for the past 60, 70 years. And but the other thing that, with the help of Darren, it was the Katie Beckett legislation that we carried to help families with children with severe medical issues, and we were able to keep families together. Made a campaign promise when I first ran to get the the Mac Hatcher extension from Hillsborough Road to over toward West Haven done. And I was blessed to be on Transportation Committee from the very beginning, and the vote came down for the Improve Act. There was a lot of opposition. I was told in committee if I voted for that, I'd never get reelected. I was the tie vote that got it out of the committee, and Governor Haslam was gracious enough on working together with him to put that on the TDOT project list. So we got the Mac Hatcher extension done. And there were things that I carried with the help of Darren we carried an ethics campaign finance reform bill that I think increases, the openness of what's going on in government. There was a lot of pushback from organizations that I was disappointed in, but we did get the bill through. And there's just a lot of other legislation, but it takes a team. And of course, my colleagues on my side of the aisle helped me out a lot on that. But if I needed help on this side on Darren's side, I could go to him and he could mobilize the forces to make sure we got the 50+ votes that we needed to pass it.
Good. What issues, go back to what did y'all agree on? Darren, you might want to answer that.
Can I answer what
did you?
My most proudest moment, I guess, before there were a couple bills in the 12 years that I've been there that stood out for me. One was ending child marriage in Tennessee. the fight that I got on that was really strange, but I won't go into detail, but we did.
Please do.
Well, I don't know. I don't
signed on to it, so it's not me.
know
Okay.
if I should talk about the person that was against it. It was from Williamson County, who's no longer.
Just move on then. No.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I also had another bill that it was important to me anyway, but we became the first state in the union to have a registry for those who commits aggravated abuse of companion animals, dogs, cats, whatever. And it took me 3 years to get that one done. I mean, it was, and so I went to that because it was the infamous Ag Committee. But those were two bills that I've got just a lot of ones that were close to me in my district, and but what I appreciate the most about Sam is, and when you're in a super minority, there's 99 members, 75 are Republican, there's 24 Democrats, so it's 25%. With a super majority, if we didn't show up, they can still do business. So it's not like we can stop debate or do anything of that nature. But when you're in a super minority like that, for me, you develop and build relationships, and if you're genuine and honest about it, I've got many friends across the aisle with horrific policies. But I've said, would they, if I called them and said I'm on the side of the road and they come pick me up, of course they would. And they're salt of the earth folks, and I spend time, and I get hit a lot from the left of associating with it, which is just really weird, because for me, a good idea is a good idea, right? Well, I care where it comes from. Even Scott Sabicki, who sits right in front of me, man, and we don't agree on anything. And one day I said, I want to sign to one of your bills, and he's looking at me. I said, look, Scott, even a blind squirrel can find a nut every now and then. I said, it's a good bill. But these relationships that you can develop, they're not going to go against our core philosophy. I wouldn't expect them to. However, though, if there's a bill that they're on the bubble they don't really care about, and you have not constantly thrown bombs or trying to get clicks or likes on the internet, which I stay off of, then you can genuinely form relationships and be civil. I still, actually, Speaker Cassidy, who first appointed me to a chairmanship, and then Speaker Sexton to a vice chairmanship of a full committee. Being the only Democrat, I got hit for doing that. And I've never compromised my values or my votes. But I'm also not going to walk out. I'm there to do a job. And so Sam and I have, first of all, Sam, if it's when I'm his age, 50 years from now, I've said before publicly, I want to carry myself like he does. He has integrity and he has moral fiber, and the way he interacts. But of course, he's a great American, and we stand back to back on a lot of stuff. And we have our little peanut butter and jelly caucus where we get 2 or 3 people that think that are moderate. They're running moderates out of the legislature. You're hard right, you're hard left, and if you don't agree with them, then you're getting primaried, or you're going to pay for this next. It's not the way it's supposed to work. And being a citizen legislature, not supposed to be down there for 25 years either. I could stay in my seat as long as I want. That's not 12 years is enough. You're a citizen, you participate in your government, and then you go home. and let somebody else do it. But whoever does it next, they better do it right, or like every great American, you go down, pick up papers, and run against them. But
So,
I kind of went off topic a little bit, but
go ahead, Sam.
Well, one of the first bills that Darren carried when I was down there, when I was sitting next to Darren on the back row of the General Assembly, he had a bill to charge a fee to go into adult entertainment establishment, and this fee would go to help human trafficking, and it raised a lot of money. And I called it a poll tax. But I was,
what it takes to get past, right?
and it was when I was brand new down there, and I was on the back row, and I didn't have my hearing aids in, and Darren, I was his prime co-sponsor, and he's down front passing the legislation, and I thought my colleagues were trying to kill the legislation. They saw it as a tax, and I misunderstood what calling the question and put it on the board, and I voted no. Okay, and he's giving me this, what the heck are you doing? So fortunately, Speaker Harwell let me go down and change my vote. But that's the kind of things that Darren was looking at to do, and so is to help this scourge of human trafficking. And what did it raise? Over $400,000?
$750,000, and because it was sunset, it only lasts for 2 years. Again, some of the things that people will fight over.
Oh, yes.
Which, I guess they all got their own. And some people will vote against you on personality of who you are, or because you have a D next to your name, or you challenged them in a committee by asking a very appropriate question. And
but I guess the first fight we had when we were sitting next to each other, there was a move to relocate James K. Polk from the state capital, Davidson County, to Columbia. And of course, he was representing Davidson County, and he was fighting the legislation. And Darren leaned over to me and said, "Sam, how can you be against something? How can you be for something like this? I mean, to dig a ex-president or former president up and relocate him
for the third time."
For the third time, and so I looked at Darren. I said, "I vote for every shovel-ready project in Tennessee."
By the way, he's still in Davidson County right now. So.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the process a little bit, the legislative process, and how it might be improved. So, Sam, if you were the speaker next year, what would be your priorities?
That's a good question, Dave. And I fully expect my friend Cameron Sexton will remain our speaker. And there is a movement right now, as each one of us, we can introduce 15 pieces of legislation a year, not private acts. Private act is something I carry for Franklin or Williamson County, or he'll carry for Davidson County. But we can introduce 15 bills. Now, you multiply that times 99. There is a lot of bills that really do nothing, that take up a lot of time, and there is a movement among my colleagues on my side of the aisle to ask that we reduce that to 5 or 10 bills per member. That way you can stay focused and you can work those bills, you can understand those bills. I had members come to my committee, Transportation Subcommittee, presented a bill, and they did not know the details of that bill. Fortunately, there was staff there from the departments that could explain it better than the member. So that's one thing I would do. And I think that would go a long way improving the ability for us to pass meaningful legislation.
Jernigan, same question.
Not really. Watching the sausage being made is not pleasant at times. If it was me, and I'm speaking from someone in a super minority status, to where a lot of times there's only one Democrat on a committee and you need 2 motions to hear a bill. I would, and I'm sure Speaker has his own reasons when he appoints the different committees. If it was me, I would make sure that there's at least 2 of the minority party on a committee. You can vote it down, you can kill it, but it needs to be heard, right? It needs to be heard, debated. And too often I see you go in with I think is a fine bill, and maybe it's a personality. There's no telling what it is. Great pieces of legislation gets killed for politics all the time. But that's just the nature that it's always been. But if you had at least 2, in this case Democrats, you get a motion in a second, and then you get to hear, at least from what's coming from that person's district in that community. You may not like it, you can yell out, do whatever you want to at that, but talk about it. But just saying dead for lack of a second, he has to go away. They've taken the time, they've done the work, they should present the bill.
Well, and that also has happened to Republicans on some
Oh, it has,
legislation.
yeah.
Oh, yes. And I had a bill this year I introduced that you had to have primary elections. You could not have a caucus selection for a state seat. I did not get a single yes vote on that bill in committee.
So let's step it up a notch. Sam, if you were the governor next year, what would your signature legislation be, or maybe the top 3 if you want to go that deep? But
Well, let's see. The governor is a constituent of mine, and he so
finish the rest of Mac Hatcher. How about that?
yeah. Well, yes. It takes money. We know that. Of course, my focus would be on transportation. Again, I really do think that it impacts our prosperity, the lack of better infrastructure in the state. That would be, if I was governor, that would be the focus. Also, I would focus on funding public education to make sure that we take care of those kids in Grundy County and across the state. One thing Pam and I did, we went to all 95 counties a couple years ago. I know how to show a girl a good time, okay? We went on we went on back roads, and you really learn about the challenges across the state. You know, we are so blessed here in Williamson County, Middle Tennessee. We are the economic engine of Tennessee. You get out there in West Tennessee or East Tennessee, you see the struggles that they are having just provide, basic services for their citizens. And government costs money. People don't understand that. If you want good roads, if you want good schools, if you want the services that are provided by everything from garbage pickup to maintaining your traffic lights to ensuring that those who do not have basic health insurance. And that's another thing I looked at over the years is the Medicaid expansion. We are losing rural hospitals. Well, okay, I'll stop at 2, but Medicaid expansion where, we're giving up billions of dollars, it will, if we can give $7,000 per student to go to a school that's not accountable to the state of Tennessee, I think there's some way we can improve and save our rural hospitals so we can make sure those counties are prosperous in the future. Okay, I defer to.
Yeah, well, expanding Medicaid would be my first choice as well. The amount of money that we could be coming in from mental health alone, rural hospitals, and our money that goes to Washington now, we're subsidizing other states that do have Medicaid expansion. And this is not something you're looking at. Sure, yeah, it has some support, but there are other very red states have passed it. That's one. I think it's ridiculous that I would do medical marijuana in this state. We're on the 5 or 6 states that have not done it, and that's not recreational, but it's medical marijuana. That's not a medical purpose for that's just been proven wrong anecdotally for years. But I am encouraged that the Department of Justice is about to relocate that from a Schedule 1.
Now, that's something we disagree on, by the way, okay?
Well, that's fine, yeah. 87% of Tennesseans don't disagree with it, but However, and then my third one is a little bit different. I would get it to where we have a daycare problem, to where, and believe me, with kids, the daycare and car insurance when they're teenagers, they're expensive. And you get to where folks can't work, or when they're at work, they're working to afford daycare. And it would free up such economic freedom for communities. It would allow people to get back in the workforce. That's generating more income and taxes, and to pay for Social Security for those in the future. But daycare is a problem, and that's what those are the three I would focus on, I think. I got a lot more, but those are, I don't. It's one thing. I don't introduce bills that I know are going to fail. That's not. I'm not going to waste one of my 15 on that. So I'm not going to come up, especially to a supermajority, and say, "Hey, I want to raise corporate taxes to do abortion," and yeah. I would probably add gun safety to one of mine if I was governor as well. I'm not saying get rid of guns. I'm just saying that a background check and close a loophole that you can't get it at Walmart and parking lot, and that you probably should fire it before you. Those are just, but I know I'm probably, that's why I'm the only Democrat that's ever come to Williamson County, but it's one that I'm fairly passionate about.
Sam, one thing I understand that you all disagree on is the storyline to the movie Casablanca. I haven't seen the movie. Pam, do you want to explain the?
How many people have seen Casablanca? Okay, I don't. When we're at the legislature, lobbyists, groups, interns, I don't care who we're with, he'll ask them, "Have you seen Casablanca yet?" He goes, in the end, when she's going to get on the plane or not, he says that she wants to get on the plane.
Yeah, she had an A boarding pass and frequent flyer miles. She wanted to get the heck out of.
She did not want to get on the plane. She said it early in the movie. "I can't leave you again."
Did she look around when she got on the plane?
She was upset.
Okay, let's take a poll. Can we take a quick poll?
Okay.
Okay, if you think she wanted to get the heck out of Casablanca, raise your hand, sir.
Nobody.
Okay, who thought she wanted to stay with?
Everybody.
Okay.
Sam, you lost that one.
You're the last Democrat we're going to ask to come here.
Let's talk about your new job, Darren. You decided, I think, last fall to take another job, retire from the state legislature. Mayor Freddie O'Connell in Nashville asked you to do a different job. Tell us about that and what you're learning, what you're planning.
Well, I was really planning to run about one more term and then retire. And when Mayor O'Connell won the election, which I didn't know the mayor very well at all before the election. Well, I endorsed someone else. I don't know if I worked against him, but and that speaks volumes to him as well. When he reached out and we've disagreed on different things, and I said, I'm still gonna disagree on things. He said, I'm counting on that, right, to be middle of the road. But so he appointed me at the time director of legislative affairs for the city to try to repair some kind of the relationship that Metro Nashville and the state government had some issues last year.
One or two.
Yeah, they were passing, instead of passing laws, they were passing lawsuits that it seemed like it was going, which we would win because they were unconstitutional. And we're not, and so, and it's the whole thing is we're not gonna, it's okay to pass laws to affect local governments. If your local government is at least aware of it or agrees to it, but we will defend our constitutional rights as a city. But I think to try to repair some kind of relationship like that, there's no magic bullet. But I can tell you with a very progressive council, a very conservative General Assembly, neither one are going away. We have to talk. As Sam said, Nashville's 1/3 the economic engine for the state. We need to work together because we want Tennessee to be better. And this time around, it seems they focused on Memphis a lot this time around. I hope it's not in rotation. But we came to an agreement where the mayor has developed relationships with the lieutenant governor and the speaker and the governor, and we went and said, look, we're not going to agree probably 70% of the time. However, you won't hear it from the mayor at the Rotary Club that we're going to sue you. The communication part is what's important. You go to the speaker and you say, we disagree with this. This is why. And this is, if this goes forward, this is what we're going to do. That's just being respectful. That is working together and communicating. The speaker and the mayor are now talking frequently on the phone. The governor reached out. They have 4 or 5 meetings scheduled for all year long. They had their first one. I said, well, what'd y'all talk about? He goes, nothing. We just got to know each other. And that's, when you know people, it's harder to call them names and say that their motives are this and that, because you know who they are. You've talked to them. You talk to each other about their families and their history and growing up and why you love Tennessee. And so that's the kind of relationship building that we're doing and we're repairing. And it was fairly quiet this time around. And we're hoping to stop things before they start.
One of the big, I guess, controversies last year was the state deciding that the state wanted more control over the appointments to the airport authority. And of course, Metro Nashville disagreed with that. Where is that going to go? What? I know how you feel, but why would it make a difference?
Why would it make a difference if the state had appointments?
Right.
Well, I would probably start with the motive of why it wanted to be done, but that's not productive. They said they wanted to be done. By the way, the new airport authority members, as of 2 days ago, were appointed, ones that are conservative. But it's a Nashville airport. It was our land in the 30s when we put it in there. It's our authority. My friend, Representative Garrett, would say, well, it's a regional airport now. And the state gives money to the airport, which 95% of it's federally funded, and the airport pays for itself. But yeah, there's a small percentage. But I also said to Representative Garrett, when there is a water main break, Sumner County's not going down there to fix it. If there's the police response, fire response, MOUs, disasters, all that's Metro. So it was working fine. It was politically, it was a political move. Same as the Sports Authority, same as the Music City Authority. East Bank's too new to talk about.
Which
I still got to get through the council.
Switch gears one more time here
All right,
for
sure.
the transportation initiative that Mayor O'Connell is now promoting. I think everybody in this room and probably everybody in Middle Tennessee agrees we've got a traffic problem, transportation problem. Tell us, give us your version of, not the Tennesseans' version, but your version of what you hope to accomplish. What are the significant pieces of that are going to make a difference?
So there's going to be a transit referendum in November 5th, and then the people of Davidson County are going to vote on. I think you're probably more interested in the regional part of it. I will say the Regional Transit Authority, the RTA, which the mayor has a seat on, which he has been going to. He's not sending representatives to, he's going to them. They did approve the transit plan, or endorsed it rather. And I think at least for us in Davidson County, we're one of 4 major cities in the United States that does not have dedicated funding for transportation. There's not. This will do that. But what it'll also do, I think that I like about it, is about 600 signal lights. When I say signal lights, that's 600 intersections, will be turned to smart signals, which will be able to analyze traffic patterns. If you go to a red light and there's nobody around, it's going to turn for you. It recognizes that. This will keep things flowing. So if you're going to a Predators game or you're going downtown, it'll be moving a lot better. 86 miles of sidewalks. We've had a lot of pedestrian deaths in Nashville. The dedicated bus lanes, we're looking at about 10 corridors, and the express bus lanes, and people say, why ain't buses? Why don't you do light rail? And hey, it's another $5 billion. But when you dedicate a bus, because right now when you get on a bus, you got to go to a hub downtown, transfer and go to where you're going. They're going to have like 15 more hubs to where if I'm in Old Hickory and I want to go to Madison, I don't go downtown and go to Madison. I just go directly to Madison. But the corridor for the express is being set up technology-wise for the future when we do transfer over to rail. We start with the bus lanes for the express, especially for the airport express go through. And it's all been to ease traffic. I can tell you there's someone in our office who lives in Spring Hill and takes public transportation bus. What's it called in Williamson County? What's the bus line called in public bus in Williamson County? I don't know. He takes it and it meets up with WeGo. That's ours. And he takes the bus from Spring Hill all the way to downtown every day. And at least he's not on the road. That's what we're voting on. It's not sexy. It's a lot of blocking and tackling. It's fundamentals because we've never had it. And so we're going to start there, and then we're going to build. And once we have that dedicated source fund, we'll be able to look in the future for mass transit as well.
As I look around the room, we could go all day with some of the questions I would like to ask out here, but the gentleman I'm standing beside here is probably one of the foremost authorities on transportation in the state of Tennessee. This is Kent Starwalt, the executive director, something like that, of the State Road Builders Association. Kent, any advice for, advice won't do any good for these guys because they're leaving, but any suggestions for the upcoming legislature on transportation issues that might help?
Well, first of all, let me just say these two gentlemen are two of the finest gentlemen who've ever served in the Tennessee General Assembly. I've actually had the pleasure of working with both of them. Both of them have, Darren actually introduced a bill for us, so we actually went to a Democrat to pass a bill that was important to him, and obviously worked with Sam a lot on the Transportation Committee. You know, the big thing with regard to transportation, you know, we did get $3 billion through the Transportation Modernization Act, but, you know, $3 billion doesn't go very far. They have $750 million of it set aside for just 3 projects. $250 million for the I-55 bridge of Memphis, $250 million for the choice lanes in Nashville, $250 million for Moccasin Bend in Chattanooga, the I-24. They have another 30 or 40 million they're doing for a transportation study in Knoxville for the I-75, I-40 corridor. They have to set aside money for right-of-way for things like the choice lanes. So half of that money is set aside for projects that are 2 to 5 years down the road. So we have to do things like what Sam talked about with regard to widening or 6-lane in our rural interstates, right? The TMA does some of that, but we're 20 to 25 years behind Kentucky and Georgia in getting that done. And we have to be able to move commerce on our rural interstates and just to move people and to improve safety. And so that has to be a focus going forward, and we're gonna have to have some kind of funding increase in the next 5 years.
Are you ready to issue bonds to do that?
We have not been, the Road Builders Association has not been supportive of doing bonds. We'd like to pay as you go, but it's something we can always talk about, but we're typically opposed to that.
Just thought I would check that out. Mindy, I'm coming to you in a minute, but there's another fellow that I promised that I wanted to meet, or I've actually met him. I don't know if you remember me, William, but William, Chuck, stand up and introduce this fellow next to you, because they are working on another project that's really important to Williamson County as well as the rest of the state. And I want you to tell us a little bit about it.
Well, as many of you know, we're in the process of building out Williamson County with the support of the mayor. Oh, excuse me, my name is Chuck Barber. I'm the Government Relations Administrator for Middle Tennessee Electric. And obviously I work with all the county folks and city folks that we serve. But anyway, one of the, probably in my lifetime, one of the most proud projects that we're working on is bringing broadband to Williamson County. And this is to people who aren't able to get it, that some of the competitors say, hey, you know, they've already got it, which they may not with the signal strength that they need. And I'm sure you know people, and there may be people in here that's dealing with that. But Middle Tennessee Electric made a promise, and we said we want to serve everyone and have everyone available for broadband. So anyway, I've got William Bradford, the CEO of United Communications, with me today. And this is William. I won't over it anyway.
No, thank you both. A lot of this started, really in 2017 when Governor Haslam and the state legislature identified lack of broadband as one of the deficiencies in our state, one of the worst connected states in the bottom 10. And it's been a big focus of Governor Lee's as well, having gone so long without broadband himself in Williamson County. There's still 4,000 homes and businesses with no internet in Williamson County, and double that in Murray County, some of the fastest growing counties in the state. And so over the next 12 months, we'll be connecting in partnerships with Mayor Anderson, every single home and business that lacks access to broadband. So we're big believers in what y'all are doing on infrastructure. You talked a lot about the different kinds of infrastructure investment we need to make in the state. The road builders as well, we see it. We're big believers in infrastructure investment, and our industry is called the digital infrastructure industry now. We're connecting folks in different ways, so we're excited to be part of the story here.
Just wanted everybody to know who you were, so if you've got an internet problem, a broadband problem, this is the guy that you need to see. So East Sheepneck Road in Murray County, is that coming along?
Definitely.
Getting feedback creep. Mindy Tate, what's your title?
Well, I'm Mindy Tate. My day job is that I'm the CEO of Franklin & Morrow, but I'm here today as a citizen. And I've lived in Williamson County over 40 years, and in Tennessee most of my childhood and adult life. And Representative Jernigan, thank you for correcting yourself when you said that you didn't like those people, but what you really meant was you didn't agree with them. And thank you for, both of you have called our legislature a citizen legislature. But what we're seeing in the media and what we're hearing from the legislature is not something that makes me feel like, as a citizen, I can go to the legislature and have my voice heard and be welcomed in the Tennessee House and the state capitol. So how do we treat each other civilly? How do we talk to each other and to our representatives and Sam, I know you were going to tell us a little bit about how to feel like you can reach out and talk to your legislators. So, I mean, I know I can call Sam and have that feeling on several of our other legislators, but as a citizen, how do we access the people's house?
Dave, so one thing Darren and I have done over the years, we have a traveling road show. Not only do we talk about civility, but how to lobby. And we talk about the effective way to do that. And when I say lobby, that's from the citizens. You know, how to reach out to your representative, either by email or phone or office visits. We encourage office visits. But we tell our audience how to do that effectively. And how to get results and how to get follow-up. It's so important that the citizens reach out to us. I try to return every phone call unless they start out with obscenities when they want to talk to me. But it's important that we respond because we represent around 70,000 people. Unfortunately, very few of that 70,000 are engaged or even vote. We need to work on that. And so, but again, we try to help that process by conducting forums and such on how to effective lobby your representative or senator.
Mindy,
Sure.
ahead.
When you want to engage, democracy does not come to you. You have to practice it. It's something that each individual, it's your birthright, and you should be engaged with government. We represent about 75,000 people. And when you're talking about districts that are heavily, they've been gerrymandered, good or bad, it doesn't matter which state. And then it's the primary becomes the general election. Whoever wins the primary is going to win and so you're looking at 75,000 people, 30,000 are registered to vote. Half of them show up to the polls. If it's a primary, you need 7,500. You need half of that primary to win. About 3,500 people are speaking for 75,000. And that's horrific. And so we need to engage. And when I say that you need to practice the democracy, and they say, well, how? You do that. And then I would argue, then you start with the fundamentals, register to vote, but you get involved with a candidate that you like, that you do research. The people that are so ill-informed on government and civics because of the media, and whether it's Fox or MSNBC or the sensationalism, and that's all corporate. They're stockholders. They're making money, and then they're the messages. So you got to tune that out. You got to do the research by showing up to a forum like this and asking somebody their question. And then you support that candidate of whoever it is. But there's more than that. You should go out to and get a subscription to your local community paper, right? They're the ones investigating. They're the ones that are going out to say, this fella or this madam is not doing right, right? They keep you informed. And then join an organization you care about. Maybe it's, water or cancer, whatever nonprofit you're passionate about. Join that group. Become a leader in that group. And then when you go speak to your representative, you're not bringing one vote, you're bringing 100 votes. And you're informed. And you're engaged. Now, it's how we're going to have to move the needle. I don't know how to mass communicate that, but that's what's going to help us. And it'll help you engage, because when you show up your representative and you're registered to vote and you've supported that candidate and you have influence and they're still not returning your call, like every great American, you go down and pick up papers to run against them. They'll return your call then.
We keep referring to the media, and you made a compliment to the local media. Derby, Cassie, Derby Jones, the publisher of the Williamson Herald, our partner here at Policy Talks. Mindy alluded that part of the problem is politics, part of it is the media. That's what I heard you say, Mindy. So, she didn't say Williamson Herald's the problem. We could name other media sources. But what, have you got any thoughts to maybe calm voices and make this a more productive process?
I'll speak first. I just want to say, in my day job with the Herald and Southern Exposure, our politicians and our legislators here in Williamson County are always accessible to us. I think that's something that I always appreciate and take a lot of pride in. And then switching gears to comment to what Mindy said about how you get in touch with legislators and make them hear you as constituents. I can say, as a side gig, my dear friend Laura Musgrave and I advocate for the Alzheimer's Association. We each have a family history, each have lost loved ones to this horrible disease, and Darren and Sam have become dear friends and great champions for us in that cause. And the way to have your representatives listen to you is to merely get in touch with them and ask for a meeting and have them sit down over a cup of coffee and hear whatever your whatever your passion is. They have always been readily available to talk to us about some of the challenges we face, as well as some of the legislation that we're trying to have passed for people suffering for the disease and for caregivers. So my hat's off to each of them. My experience with Darren and Sam is that they are men of great integrity, and they have always been accessible to us.
Yeah, if I could add, if Laura and Cass up there, they work the halls, they work with there's legislation involved in Alzheimer's. They were responsible for the Alzheimer's Advisory Council that we created. And when they show up at your office, if you don't agree, you will be hanging out the windows with these two until you nod north and south. But anyway, they are great lobbyists, and again, proof that citizens can make a difference.
Get in touch with them, and if they don't respond, there's consequences. That's what it said.
Sheila, you got a question? Stand up.
Thank you again for being here. And there's one podcast I do listen to, you might be right, with Governor Haslam and Bredesen, and I believe in that. And I always, in my mind, as a school board member, you always listen to the other side because they might be right. And I appreciate you, and what you're saying is that when you go to vote, you vote the person, not the party. Unfortunately, school board has become partisan, but I don't want to see our votes as a school board to vote because of the party. They need to vote because you have 42,000 students responsible for. So get to know the candidate, not the party.
1,000% correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Sheila's right. I carried a bill to repeal this partisan school board election, and it never got heard in committee. But our podcast is, you're usually wrong. That's what we call it.
We're definitely the junior varsity between Bredesen and Haslam when it comes to that. They're very good.
Jason Golden, our school superintendent in Williamson County, could you make this, the recording of this program mandatory for the, I don't know whether you'd make it American history class, civics class, learning all about the mechanics of this process? Wouldn't it be helpful?
It would be helpful. It's a good example of what we do. Of course, the state sets standards, and there, it's getting more and more strict all the time. But I will tell you what struck me about this discussion about state issues and the differences so much from county to county. Generations ago, our community leaders decided education was important, and they invested in it. And we are the product of that. And I think about a train getting started and getting rolling. And our train is rolling because we had that combined commitment to make our education system great, and the investment, and the business community. And we succeed because the business community is doing well. They succeed because we're doing well, and we've got that rolling. I think it's a model that can work and does work across the nation. With that investment in education, because it does pay for itself.
Kel gave us a dangerous latitude on time a minute ago. I'm running overtime, and he said that was okay, but we're going to go ahead and wind it up.
Sam's taking me to Cracker Barrel after this, so I'm staying for a while.
That's great. We really appreciate what you two gentlemen have done for us as a state, as a county, and particularly for the time you took to be here this morning. We just want to show our appreciation. If everyone would give them a big hand just for what they've done. Well-deserved standing ovation, and I appreciate that for them. Thank you for taking the time to be here, Sam, Darren, and just appreciate all you've done. A lot of thank yous to make this show happen. I want to mention a few folks: Columbia State, Dr. Lampley, Mary Beth, Bob. We appreciate the red carpet you roll out for us here every month. Creed, you do a great job with WCTV, and if you want to watch this over again, it's on WCTV Channel 3, Comcast, and I still haven't learned how to stream it, but it's on there somewhere, and on YouTube. The AM 950 Tom, we appreciate you and Tommy and Linda making it possible to go out over the air on WAKM. Cassie, Derby, we appreciate your help through the Williamson Herald and that partnership there. Our financial partners, Vanderbilt University and Lynn, you're most helpful there. And AT&T, we appreciate making a financial contribution. And maybe last but most important, our coffee partner, Lion Leadership Group, and Terry. She has to get up. What time do you get up in the morning, Terry? She goes way above and beyond to make sure we have free McDonald's coffee. So thank you, Terry. And the chamber staff, of course, works together on all this. Kel McDowell is the quarterback on this effort. And Kel, we appreciate it. Matt, of course, the leader. Jenna, making sure the graphics and everything come together. And then Nancy Conway, one of the iconic women of Williamson County, got that award this past week, but she kind of works the phones and keeps me informed on what's happening out there in the county. We're planning future shows. We're open for ideas, actually, and we have kind of a process that we go through every year. We're taking a look at mixing that up some this summer. If you've got ideas about what you would like to hear, who you would like to hear, we have had a conversation with Doug Crewin at the National Airport Authority to come and explain a lot what's going on there. That hasn't been scheduled, but anything like that of interest to you all, let us know, and we will put that in the funnel and see if we can't make it happen. So thank you very much for being here. Beautiful crowd this morning. Just hope that you found it interesting, and I look forward to having you back next month. Thank you very much.